Putin on a peace board for Gaza? Just let that sink in for a second. Yeah, you heard that right. It sounds like something out of a political thriller, but it's real. So the question is, how on earth did we get here? Today, we're going to try and piece together a diplomatic move that has, well, pretty much left the entire world scratching its head. It is a genuine puzzle, so let's start deconstructing it. All right, our story kicks off with a headline that sent some serious shockwaves rippling across the globe. And the source of this news? The Kremlin itself. So yeah, it was a Monday when the Kremlin just confirmed it. Vladimir Putin had received an invitation to join this brand new, very high-profile Board of Peace for Gaza. But, Moscow's reaction wasn't a simple yes or no. Of course not. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov came out with this classic bit of diplomatic speak. He said Russia is looking to, quote, clarify all the nuances of the offer. What does that really mean? Well, it's a textbook move. It buys them time to figure out all the pros and cons before they commit one way or the other. Okay, so that brings us to the really big question, right? What exactly is this Board of Peace anyway? Let's take a look at what it's supposed to do and, just as importantly, who's on it. On paper, the board's mission is, well, it's huge. The whole idea grew out of ceasefire proposals for the war in Gaza, and it even got a nod from a UN Security Council resolution. Its official job is to oversee a ceasefire, manage the transition to a real lasting peace, and then supervise a committee of Palestinian experts who would handle the day-to-day running of Gaza. And the initial lineup is pretty revealing. You've got your political heavy hitters, people like former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But then you also have some very close personal allies in the mix, like the developers Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and to top it off, the president of the World Bank, Ajay Banga. It's a really curious blend of geopolitical power and, let's say, personal connections. But here's the kicker. Getting a seat at this table isn't just about political influence. Nope, there's a price tag, and it's a big one. According to reports, for a country to secure its membership, it'll cost them a cool $1 billion. And Putin wasn't the only one who got an invitation. It looks like offers were also sent out to the leaders of Argentina, Paraguay, Turkey, and Egypt. What's really interesting, though, is that an invitation also went to the Egyptian Commission for Rights and Freedoms. That's a human rights group. So it's definitely an unconventional coalition they're trying to build. Okay, so this is where the story gets really complicated, because inviting Vladimir Putin to this particular party creates a massive contradiction. I mean, it's one you just can't ignore. Just look at this. On one side, you have the board's entire purpose: solidify peace, resolve global conflict. Pretty straightforward. But on the other side, the invitee is Vladimir Putin, who is actively leading an invasion of Ukraine and has reportedly rejected ceasefire proposals there again and again. It's a head-scratcher, right? The two things just do not compute. So it's no surprise that this invitation didn't happen in a vacuum. For a lot of people on the world stage, this just added fuel to a fire that's been burning for a long time. The suspicion that the administration's foreign policy has a clear pro-Russian tilt. But to really get the full picture here, we can't just look at this one invitation. We kind of need to zoom out a bit and connect some other dots, because this seems to be part of a much bigger pattern. For example, take this incredible letter sent to the Prime Minister of Norway. In it, Trump basically says, hey, since you guys decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. Wow, it really pulls back the curtain on a very personalized, and you could say very transactional view of international diplomacy. And this transactional approach isn't just about peace prizes. Around the same time, the U.S. was seriously cranking up the pressure on Denmark over a potential takeover of Greenland, even hitting European allies who objected with some pretty harsh tariffs. It's another clear example of using economic muscle to achieve geopolitical goals. And the reactions from around the world are telling. Over in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer slammed the tariffs, calling them completely wrong. But Russia's reaction? A totally different tune. That same Kremlin spokesperson, Peskov, suggested that while he wouldn't comment on the legality of it, a U.S. takeover of Greenland would be a historic event that would certainly go down in history. An interesting take, for sure. So, when you put all these pieces on the board, the Putin invitation, the Nobel letter, the pressure over Greenland, what does it all mean for the future of global relations? When you step back and connect these dots, you start to see a clear pattern emerging. These aren't just random, isolated events. They look more like a whole new playbook for foreign policy. We're talking about an era where money might just buy you a seat at the peace table, where personal grievances can shape international treaties, and where old alliances are being tested in very unconventional ways. And that leaves us with one massive critical question. Are we watching a bold new approach to finally achieving peace, shaking up a system that many feel is broken? Or are we just stepping into a new world order where everything, from sovereign territory to a seat on a peace board, is for sale? The answer to that will likely define the next decade.